Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV. I'm your host, Matt King, and I'm joined by a special guest, Prime, Ladimus Prime. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be on.
I'm happy for you to be on too, mate. And it's unfortunate we couldn't get that extra special guest on this morning, but we will sort something out in the future to get you two on to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Chelsea. What is going on at Chelsea, Prime? And all these transfers coming in very quickly as well. I mean, Thiago Silva was announced yesterday. That's an amazing free transfer. What do you make of Abramovich helping out Frank Lampard, seeing as you had the ban last year? Is this the fact that Abramovich himself, wants Chelsea to get back to where he feels they belong?
Well, first of all, it's basically like, FIFA career mode. We're just going crazy with everything. But yeah, Frank's being backed more than any Chelsea manager has recently. I don't like. I think the last time we've done something this big and crazy in transfer windows, like back in 03 and 04. Yeah, it seems. I mean, Frank came in. We all know last season with the transfer ban and losing Eden Hazard and stuff like that and circumstances. And it seems like now Frank's being back. There's this plan. Frank's has a 3-year plan where he wants us to be able to win the Premier League, or at least be in this position where we're one of the favourites for it. And yeah, Thiago Silva on a free transfer. Kai Havertz. It looks like it's supposed to be in done. Personal terms, it's done. It's just little things with Leverkusen, Werner, Ziyech, Malang Sarr on a free. We're doing amazing business, and yeah, it's going to make next season interesting. A lot of people are saying, you've got to be challenging for the title, which I kind of agree, and for me, it's like we finished third, which is progression. And I said this at the end of the season before. Yeah, Werner and Ziyech were already in, but before we truly knew what madness we were going to be on. Yeah, I think we closed the gap. We improved on our deficiencies. For example, defensively, our defensive structure, how we were defending set pieces. With which Thiago Silva will come in and improve us on. We also brought in a defensive coach from Wigan. His name escapes my mind. Apologies. Kepa. Look, he's going to get better next season, just on the caveat of he's going to play in front of a better defence and there'll be a leader there. Our attack, I think we're second in terms of chances created in XG. So we're up there with like Liverpool and City, but we're not scoring the amount of goals they are. Werner, Havertz, Ziyech will be an upgrade on that. So I think we will have a better season and we will be better. Will it be enough to challenge and be in the touching distance of City and Liverpool by with 5 games left to go? I hope so. I want it to, but I don't know because Lampard, again, he's still a fledgling manager. He's going into now his 3rd season of management. But like I've been saying, we'll see. It is what it is, and we'll just see what happens in the season.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be exciting. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about that. There's a possibility that you buy too many players and it just doesn't gel. But I think it will. I think individually they're good players, and I think they can definitely adapt to a new league. A new way of philosophy from Frank Lampard. But you're also talking about like the Kepa keeper situation and the fact that you would like Oblak in from Atletico. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Because Oblak is the best keeper on the planet. He's world class, one of the best keepers on the planet. That's also available. Yeah, he has a buyout clause of like 8 or something million, but Atletico are in financial problems, and I think if you offer them, and plus they still owe us money for like Morata, which is like 50 or something mil, which I don't know how that happened, but thank God we have Marina. I think if we can offer them like 60, 70 mil, maybe 80 plus like Kepa in exchange, or I think they will take it because Kepa, he's still rated in Spain. I think he's still Spain's number one, but again, that's probably due to David De Gea's poor form as well. But yeah, I don't see that happening realistically in this window. I think it'll be next summer. So I think Kepa, even though we are looking for alternatives, I think what will end up happening is Chelsea will bring in like a second choice backup. But Kepa will start off as our first choice because what Chelsea fans saying, just get rid of him, sending on a 2-year loan or whatever. It's hard to do that when he needs to be on some sort of good form for someone to take him on loan. So I think he will end up staying and probably starting off anyway as our number one. And what happens if he goes on a bad run of form again, then he'll be dropped, and hopefully we'll have someone in as a backup to be able to start for the rest of the season.
Do you think it was something to do with that situation between him and Sarri? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think that's where it sort of declined for him.
I mean, people say that, but they've got to remember, even beyond that point, during that season, people have to remember we finished third. We got in the Europa League semi-final. We were in a shootout, which Hazard scored the winning goal, yes, but Kepa was also big in that shootout. And we got to a Europa League final, which we beat Arsenal 4-1. He was great that season. People are raving about Leno now, but Kepa was better than Leno that season. Or last season, I guess it is.
There you have, Arsenal fans. You've just been drawn out.
It's true. They can't deny that. I think with that substitution thing, I think it's bad from both points of view. My thing is his name. If your name didn't go up on the scoreboard thing that the sideline ref holds up, so you don't necessarily have to come off. But I think it was just a miscommunication. If Kepa had went to the sidelines and just spoken to Sarri, I don't think that would have been a problem. Also, if Sarri had not made it into a bigger thing than it was, when he stormed off and then he came back on and stuff like that, then it would still, again, wouldn't have been made into a bigger deal. And also, look, even if all of this still happens and we go into the shootout and Kepa's the hero and we win it, no one ends up talking about it. So I think it's those fine margins.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think, like you say, I think Sarri as well, he's that sort of person. They just sort of clashed, didn't they, at the time? I couldn't see that the goalkeeper was going to come on for a right back, though, or anything. It was definitely going to be Kepa, you know what I mean? Because the keeper was waiting on the sideline, wasn't he? But let's get off that anyway. That was old news. What are you making of, Kai Havertz has not actually been, it's not a signed and done deal yet, is it? What do you make of this deal coming through?
No. Apparently personal terms are agreed. Hasn't signed yet. I think it's to do with Leverkusen and stuff. I think we're still haggling over certain things, but we are definite favourites and seems to be more or less done. It's just the waiting around that's annoying. I just get it. For me, it's just, get it done. But I understand when it's easily saying that as a fan, but when you're up there and you're actually negotiating these certain things, those fine margins in terms of money do count. And I think it's in terms of Leverkusen, the added bonuses and clause in terms of player, performances. I think we're trying to actually make them realistic, not to add in clauses like Martial, when he went from Monaco to United, he has something like a Ballon d'Or clause, stuff like that. So we're trying to make it as realistic as possible.
Mate, I think, did you ever hear, there's a story, I can't remember the football player, but he had in his clause a trip to space was written in his clause. Yeah, I know. I'll have to figure out what player that was. I saw a documentary.
It's either Zlatan or Ronaldo, I'm assuming.
Oh, no, honestly, it was someone, I think it was a Premier League player. It really would, and it was someone you wouldn't have thought it would have been. But I'll have to think about that one. Yeah, the things you get in clauses these days are, it's weird, isn't it, what people ask for on that? But I mean, you look at like the Messi situation now, the fact that he feels like he can go on a free, but Barcelona want, I think, around 600 million for the buyout clause to be triggered. But look at Thiago Silva coming in for free from PSG to Chelsea. I think that's an amazing free transfer. I know he's like 35, 36 years old, but he can give you a very good year because, you know, you haven't got a backbone, have you, at Chelsea at the moment? Your defence was leaking a lot of goals. What do you make?
Yeah.
What do you make of him coming in? Do you think it is an improvement, and do you think he can sort of help the youth to learn the sort of role that he plays?
Look, people can, especially Arsenal fans, talking about his age and the fact that we bantered them on Willian and being a retirement club, but we got into Silva. You have to realise she was just in a Champions League final where I know PSG lost, but that was due to Mbappe and Neymar not really taking their chances. Thiago Silva, in my opinion, was phenomenal in that final defensively. He comes in as, I mean, easily our best centre-back, obviously. Probably top 3 in the league. Over the past decade, he's been one of the best centre-backs on the planet. He has a wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge, and he comes in and he just makes everyone better because, yeah, our centre-backs are bad, but if you had a leader next to them, they will look better, just on the caveat of they raise their level. I mean, you look, for example, Liverpool, you look at Joe Matip. I know Lovren's gone now, but Joe Matip, he's not a great defender. He's good, he's decent, but Van Dijk obviously makes him just look 10 times better. And I always talk about centre-backs being, you need a partnership. Like, for example, United spending 85 on Maguire. He is a great centre-back. I rate him highly, but one isn't enough. You do need a partnership to work together. Unless you're unless you're a centre back who is, 1,000 times clear of everyone on the planet, like a JT or a Sergio Ramos or a Silva, who you can come in and you can be partnered with more or less anyone, and you will make them better. That's on the caveat of you're a leader, and you're going to drag people up. Not necessarily to your level, but you're going to drag them up a level and make them better. I think Silva will be partnered with Kurt Zouma, just on the point of he's our best centre-back, and the language issue won't necessarily be a problem. It's gonna be interesting. People talk about lack of pace, but again, Adams, he played Prem, didn't have experience, and I know that was like you could say 20 or 30 years ago. John Terry, one of the best defenders playing the Prem. I would say the best, but then again, I'm a Chelsea fan, so a bit biased there. He had no pace at all, was phenomenal. Ricardo Carvalho, towards the end of his career, he played everywhere, and towards the end of his career, his pace went, but he was still phenomenal. So I don't think pace is as much of an issue as people make it out to be, especially when your positioning is just of an elite level. And yes, fine. That's not me saying there aren't going to be times where he's going to get maybe burnt by a Vardy or maybe a Martial or an Aubameyang. But that's because those players are just electrifyingly quick. That necessarily won't be that. That's just going to be it. But other than that, so long as like I keep saying, our structure improves, I don't see him coming in being an issue. But if he's coming in to a structure that we had, just this season gone, 2019, 2020, then yeah, he's going to look bad. He's obviously going to look bad. So it comes down to our structure again.
Imagine if Thiago Silva comes for his first season and wins the Champions League.
Well, Chelsea, yeah.
Imagine that. He's obviously been at PSG. That's pretty much what they fight for every single season, and he hasn't ever won it. Just off the mark, obviously this year, getting beaten by Bayern Munich. But could you imagine that? Just going to Chelsea on a free, only expecting a year, and lifting that cup that he really wanted to lift. I mean,
But if he was to do that, it'd be one season, but he'd probably go down as a Chelsea legend just based on that. I think Frank would easily go down as a Chelsea legend as a manager, winning the Champions League. So, yeah, don't give me hope, man.
Hey, you never know. I'm pretty sure he feels that with the team that Fred and Abramovich have got in, he probably feels this is the best opportunity for him to get something. Because I can't see PSG doing as good as what they did last year in the Champions League. And he will win their league anyway. There's no one really with PSG, is there?
When you look at PSG, the reason why they won't win the Champions League is due to how easy their league is. And unless there is an improvement overall in their league, they won't get better. PSG themselves will not get better in Europe. I mean, they got to a final and they're still not able to win it. With people talk about Neymar and being up there with Messi in top 2 currently and being one of the greatest Brazilians of all time and stuff like that. And people talk about Mbappe and what legacy he can potentially have. If you have those 2 players, you're in a Champions League final with Keylor Navas. He's won 3 on the bounce. Di Maria's won a Champions League final where he was man of the match. And you can't win said Champions League. There's got to be a problem.
Agreed, mate. So what do you make of Ben Chilwell coming in from Leicester City as well? Chelsea needed a left back, didn't they? Someone strong as well, and I believe he's an international for England, so that's always good as well, having an international player. Yeah, what do you make of that signing?
Yeah, England international, currently first choice. Chilwell is someone I've been looking at since Leicester, the season after Leicester won the league. I was looking at that Leicester team and I was looking at Christian Fuchs and I was looking at his age and I knew they had Chilwell in their ranks and he was someone of interest to me, so I just kind of kept my eye on him and watching him, grow and develop. And he's still young, 23, 24, and he was phenomenal this season, at least in the first part. And people can say, oh, he dipped and he became poor, and people can talk about whether it's the links to Chelsea or whatever it may be, but you also have to realise that Leicester team in general more or less fell off a cliff since January, February. I mean, they weren't top. They were third comfortably throughout the season, and they should have secured top 4, and they didn't. I don't think it's just a Chilwell issue; it's a Leicester issue. And also, people tell me that when they played Man City, Riyad Mahrez burnt him, and they played Liverpool, Salah burnt him. True, but how many left backs do you know that are able to keep Salah and Mahrez quiet for a full game on their own? I don't know many around.
No, not. I'd pick Ben Chilwell over Luke Shaw any day. And I think Luke Shaw is right, but I just think he's injury prone and it's taken him a long time to get back from that he had. I don't think he'll ever become world class or a top player. But yeah, I think Ben Chilwell is a really, really good buy for and cheap as well. Not quite cheap, but I mean cheap. They were offering out first, right?
Yeah, and also people, you have for example, Arsenal fans on Twitter and stuff like that saying, he doesn't make the top 3 left backs in the league and stuff like that, and talk about his price tag. Well, also it's the same with Harry Maguire's price tag. They're both English. If Chilwell was Spanish or Italian or Portuguese, then he's costing 30, 35 mil. So you have to add in that English tax onto things. Also, he's currently England's starting left back. He's been rated and raved about. Man City were also linked with him, and we know what Pep's like. Pep's going to buy players that fit his system that he rates. And also, this is the fact that it's Frank Lampard's first target. We also linked with the likes of Nicola Tagliafico, plays for Ajax. He's 27 in experience. Linked to Alex Telles, who is 26 years old, I think. I think he's 28 and he's experienced. We were linked with Reguilon the past couple of weeks. He's loaned out by Real Madrid. He was at Sevilla. He was in the semi-final game against Man United. People talk about those players, but if they're not the guy your manager wants. And this is something I always say: you back your manager. 'Cause the minute you stop backing your manager and things start to go south, you cannot. I don't think you can solely blame your manager for that problem. This is who Frank wants. This is also Ashley Cole, who's probably one of, he is the best left back playing the Prem. Sorry, Dennis Irwin.
Well, Patrice Evra, but
Yeah, no, Patrice Evra was never really world class. But yeah, when one of the best left backs around, anyway, let's just say that he rates this guy highly. I think you've got to take notice of him, and it's who Frank wants. It's the first choice. We got him. It went from 80 mil to 50, so at least that's something anyway. So let's just see how it performs. Also, Chelsea fans shouldn't, rivals are going to banter us anyway, it doesn't matter, but Chelsea fans shouldn't expect him to be brilliant for the first month or so, because he is coming back from an injury. So let him slowly work his way back.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Absolutely agree. Not with the Patrice Evra thing, but we all have our opinions there.
I know. Listen, I rate Evra highly, but Ashley Cole is clear. But yeah, that's an argument for a different day.
I don't even think it is. I you know what? I kind of agree, because I think about what Ronaldo said about playing in Chelsea, and he just said it was so hard to get past Ashley Cole, one of the...
Exactly, and that is when people talk about Chilwell not being able to handle Mahrez or Salah, how many left backs to have ever played the game do you know could handle? Ronaldo's obviously, one of the best to ever play, so he's clear of Salah and Mahrez. How many people do you know can handle an in-form Ronaldo like that when he was in the Prem? Not many. And I know there were games as well when when Ronaldo burnt Ashley Cole as well, and that's what made that battle between the two so amazing. I remember on Twitter this week I tweeted out a bit of a compilation video of Ashley Cole keeping Ronaldo in his pocket, because that battle to me was just so amazing, and that's why I liked playing Man United during that time, because Ronaldo and Cole, or Cole and Ronaldo, whoever he was dominating each other, was just amazing to watch.
It was, wasn't it? I do miss those years. I really do. Hopefully they're coming back, though. Definitely for Chelsea. I'm not sure about Man United.
Yeah, Man United, I think it's your negotiations and what's going on, Maybe we'll send Marine out on loan to you guys.
We've just signed with a noodle company, apparently. So, we're going the right way, right?
You're going somewhere. I like noodles, so, I'll be buying more money to help you guys in the transfer if you need it.
I hope we ain't going to have sponsored on the front, you know what I mean? That Bachelor's Noodle. Prime, just to sort of wrap things up, as a prediction, I know it's hard to do this because we haven't, pre-season, can't go on pre-season friendlies, how good the team is. But what do you think? Where do you think Chelsea will end up in the Premier League at the end of the season?
Third. I've been saying this. Okay, the areas, and this is me kind of repeating points, but since the season ended, I said the areas we need to improve on is defensively, in terms of defensive structure, how we defend set pieces. Kepa's got to improve, whether it's him or we get a new goalkeeper. I want Oblak. We create the second most chances in terms of XG and stuff like that. So we're up there with City and Liverpool. So we've got to finish our chances. That's going to happen with Werner, Ziyech and Havertz more than likely, assuming it's done. We need to, Frank himself needs to, I've seen so many games where Frank has been tepid or slow to make his substitutions and take that initiative. However, when we've played big games, we played Spurs twice, beat them. Frank was on it and he was ready to make the onus. However, the little mistakes, for example, first game of the season, Man United, and we lost 4-0. People keep saying that's never a 4-0 game, but the little mistakes that was happening with the players, and yeah, fine, they're young, so you can use that as an excuse, but that scoreline shouldn't be happening. Frank will now gain experience, but because of the signings we're getting, people are expecting us to challenge. And I would agree if this was, name me any world-class manager out there, Pep, Klopp, I still rate Jose highly, Simeone, Allegri, Nagelsmann, whoever you want to name. However, this is a manager and is now going into his third season of management. I'm expecting third. I'm expecting us to close the gap and make it realistic for the following season to then go and challenge or even win it. I'm also expecting us to win a trophy, because losing to Arsenal in the cup final, it's not the fact that they're rivals or the banter on Twitter. It's because of the fact that I wanted to bring in this winning mentality early. So that will help the players. And for this season that's coming, it would make it more of an actual goal to maybe even challenge, because it's that thing of, I'm used to winning trophies. If this is what the FA Cup feels like, imagine what it's like to lift the Premier League or lift the Champions League. So that's why I'm expecting a trophy. I'm expecting third, maybe at least stay toe to toe to Liverpool and challenge. But if we're not in the title race by like March or April, then don't expect that as a failure. Also, I say finish third, but if, say, Man United from now to the end of the window are able to pull off Sancho and you're able to prove on the squad depth, because they already have a quality first 11, and Man United are then up there as well challenging, and Chelsea finish fourth. But say we're Chelsea are, whoever wins the league, we're 7 or 10 points away. I don't see that as a failure, because you're still in there. The place doesn't necessarily matter, because that can fluctuate season to season. But being in there with a chance to realistically win it is my position. But also Frank has to improve, and it's not going to be a point where he has to improve quickly on the job. And people say if Frank doesn't get third or finish top 4 or challenge, that he's going to get sacked. Maybe, and people keep bringing me examples like Ancelotti finished second after winning the league in the second season, and he got sacked and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe I agree with you, but this is looks like this is a different Roman. When he came to Chelsea, fine, he wasn't a Chelsea fan, but he is now. He's grown to love and actually care about the club. I mean, it's not like I can say the same for Kroenke at Arsenal, but yeah, he actually cares about the club. And to be a fan of the club and to bring in arguably our greatest player, definitely top 3, top 2, and to bring him in as a manager in his first season, and to have him have the setbacks of not having a transfer window to replace one of your greatest players in the last, say, decade, who was responsible for 49% of your goals, to not be able to have to deal in the season with a shaky defence, a terrible goalkeeper in terms of percentages in our history, and an attack that we don't have a creative 10, yet we're still our creative midfielder, let me say, not a 10, because 10s don't really exist in the modern game. Not to have a creative midfielder, but yet still be creating chances on par with Liverpool and City. And then to finish, we finished fourth, but it was joint points with Man United, who were on third. To do all that in your first season at Chelsea, your second season in management, is amazing, because we did overachieve. People expected us 6th, 8th. I predicted us to get top 4, because I looked at what everyone else was doing in terms of the top 6. And Arsenal and Spurs, it was a matter of time before they collapsed like this. Frank now has to improve, and I believe he will. Even as a player, he's one of those players who was always constantly training and pushing himself to be better. So I do believe he will improve, but I don't, unless we're like in a relegation by like December or something, I don't expect him to get sacked at all. He has a project, and at least for the 3 years, and we let him see him out. Also, our signings, people are so happy and gassed about everything, and we should be. We're in an amazing space right now in terms of getting our signings done. I mean, look at Liverpool; they're haggling prices over Thiago. Arsenal are buying Willian on a free, still haggling over re-signing Aubameyang, and buying Gabriel, who they're raving about as this great young centre back, but he's not really. don't expect everything to click straight away, because you do have to realize people have to come into the Prem and gel and settle. And we signed a lot of players that are going into our first team, which will then disrupt things. I mean, it takes time to settle into the league. Let them take that bit of time to settle. But I do expect us to be good enough to get third. But that's as how things stand right now, not knowing what, say, United do in the window. So, yeah, third, win a trophy, improving our frailties from the season beforehand. Go quarterfinals in the Champions League, depending on our run. But yeah, that's it.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you so much for joining us today as well.
No problem. Anytime, man. Anytime you need me on.
Well, yeah, hopefully we can get you on with special guests. I don't want to shout out the name because then people will be like, really? Are you? Definitely, are you?
Yeah, you'll be clickbaiting, I guess, yeah.
Yes. There is another special guest we was going to have on today joining Prime, but unfortunately couldn't make it. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why.
I mean, it's the special guest is Frank Lampard, but we have a pre-season game today, that's why.
yeah, Frankie said anyway, like, we'll sort something out. You can come around my house and we'll do one as long as you're under measures or COVID measures, clean.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout out all your social medias, Prime, so everyone can see where?
I don't know if they can see my name. I know it's recording, but I can see mine. Anyway, my Twitter is at Ladimus Prime X. That's LADIMUS PRMEX. My Twitch is Ladimus Prime 8, the number 8. So that's LADIMUS PRIME and 8, the number 8. On Twitch, I do gaming, and recently for the past 2-3 days, I've been doing discussions about football with some of my friends on the terrace and stuff like that. And I'll be happy to have you on anytime you want to, man. Be amazing to talk football and just randomness about life and whatever it may be.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And I forgot to mention as well, I didn't really want to do it just in case you didn't want me to, but you're quite a regular on the football terrace, aren't you, with Terrace?
Oh, yeah, the football terrace as well. Yeah, that's where I appear on YouTube. Just type in the football terrace on YouTube and I appear there most days, if not every day. So, yeah.
Especially in the mornings on the Skype calls, right?
Yeah. Watch me, go on there and apparently give my deluded, fraudulent opinions.
Mate, your opinions are always worthy of Chelsea fans and football fans in general to hear. So thanks a lot for that, mate. And go subscribe to us, Football United TV. We're on Twitter and Instagram, all the same name. And
obviously, this is an amazing channel. It's so young in terms of subscribers, but it's growing, man. And look, we all have to start off somewhere. I'm also young on Twitch as well in terms of followers and viewers, but we all start off somewhere. And AFTV wasn't built in a day, and they now have 1 million subscribers, or over 1 million subscribers. So we'll all get there.
Thanks for that, mate. That was really good feedback. And thank you everybody for tuning in as well. We'll get you on again soon, Prime, hopefully.
Most definitely.
Guest. And everybody have a brilliant bank holiday weekend, or if you're wherever you are from the world. I know we get a lot of people from America watching. Just have a
Actually, big up to you Americans as well. Bryant appears a lot on the Football Terrace. He's American, and I know some Americans as well. Arsenal fan, Chelsea fan, and stuff like that. People talk about Americans not knowing anything about football because they call it soccer. They know a lot more than you actually think. Probably more than, I'd say probably as much as the English do, in terms of the Premier League. So don't judge a book by its cover. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't disrespect it, because they do. Americans are interested in football. That's sort of, the rumours go around that they don't like it, like we don't like the NFL, but that's not true. It's both ways, really. We both know about each other's sports, I think, recently anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. And for anyone who's waking up at a ridiculous time to watch essentially a stupid game, like a stupid game of football for like 90 minutes, must be a diehard fan. So don't disrespect it.
Exactly. Prime, thank you very much for coming on, and everybody.
Thank you very much, mate.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Peace.